Hello, my name is Michael Caine. I've just had a vaccine for COVID. It didn't hurt. Not many people know that.
This is for all you clowns out there that saying you guys gotta take the shot. Don't take it. I tell you what, as a grieving mother, I'm gonna tell you why. My daughter took that shot yesterday in Las Vegas and she's dead. She took the Pfizer vaccine and she's dead. They couldn't even revive her. I'm begging you people, don't take it. They're killing us.
I'm Morgan Freeman. I'm not a doctor, but I trust science. And I'm told that for some reason people trust me. So here I am to say, I trust science and I got the vaccine. If you trust me, you'll get the vaccine.
I can't.
What?
Has anything like this ever happened to your mother before?
No.
I got the vaccine.
I don't. None that I know of.
I can't. Please don't.
What's your mother trying to say? We have help on the way. They're already.
The good news is that the vaccines are being rolled out. And they're, I mean, you're on the list.
Yeah, I can't wait to get. I will fight an old lady for that vaccine. I will.
No, come on.
Like Game of Thrones. I will grab.
No.
I will grab that. I'll be like a deranged junkie. I will grab the needle out of her arm.
Breathe, baby.
Can you talk to me? Can you say anything?
So to stop that variant from taking hold, America needs to vaccinate as many people as quickly as possible.
Come on, baby. Come on. Breathe, baby, breathe.
Come here, master. Come and master that. Drink it enough to the jugular.
It's okay. Come on.
But there are still nearly 20 million children around the world who are not getting the routine vaccines that they need to be safe. So please don't wait. Vaccinate yourself, vaccinate your children.
I've been hiding a lot and not showing exactly what this has done to me. But I'm done hiding, and I'm done being scared. There are several stories like mine. The same doctors who told us this was safe are the same doctors brushing us off as if we didn't matter. It is now time that we are heard, seen, and believed.
You always, I mean, the younger kids are vulnerable. You don't want to be putting things into younger children until you know it's safe and effective. So we know we're good to go from 12 to 15. So now we're going to go 12 to 9, 9 to 6, 6 to 2 years, and 6 months to 2 years.
More people, according to VAERS, have died after getting the shot in 4 months during a single vaccination campaign than from all other vaccines combined over more than a decade and a half.
The more people in society that get vaccinated, the more chance there is of eradicating the national COVID pandemic. It's really important to know that the vaccines have all been through and met the necessary safety and quality standards.
The safety data now, I can no longer recommend it. I can't recommend it. It's past all the thresholds to being a safe product. It's not a safe product. None of them are. It's not just Johnson & Johnson. In fact, more of the safety events in the United States have occurred with Moderna and Pfizer. As we sit here today in May, there are over 4,000 dead Americans. There's over 10,000 dead people in Europe that die on days 1, 2, and 3 after the vaccine.
Dear mums and dads,
grandparents, aunties,
uncles,
brothers,
sisters,
nephews,
nieces, sons,
daughters,
cousins. We love you.
We know we don't say it often enough. And sometimes we have our disagreements like families do.
But wherever you are, we love you from the bottom of our hearts. And we know you love us.
And we want to see you again. COVID-19 has kept us apart for way too long.
We want to hug you. We want to celebrate with you. We want to worship with you. We want to play video games with you, preferably in the same room, so that we can see the look on your face when we beat you.
But in order to do all that, we all need to take the COVID-19 jab. So all of us in this together.
Things will slowly get back to normal. Well, what they're calling the new normal. But in reality, the new normal will mean needing a vaccine for doing the kinds of things we used to take for granted.
That is my daughter workmate. I work at the Sainsbury's in Orpington. And she have a heart problem. And she go doctor. And they give her the COVID injection, and that's how it leave her.
I had no idea the risks or the cost. We need to be heard.
I received the Moderna vaccine on March 11th, and my life hasn't been the same since.
We believed that this vaccine was the right thing to do. So please, trust us and listen to us when we tell you that we are continuing to suffer physically.
Upon receiving the second shot, Maddie immediately felt pain at the injection site. Over the next 2.5 months, her abdominal, muscle, and nerve pain became unbearable. She had developed additional symptoms that included gastroparesis, nausea and vomiting, erratic blood pressure and heart rate, memory loss. She mixes up words, brain fog, headaches, dizziness, fainting. She fell and hit her head, and then seizures. She developed verbal and motor tics. She had loss of feeling from the waist down and muscle weakness. Drastic changes in her vision, urinary retention and loss of bladder control, severely irregular and heavy menstrual cycles, and eventually she had to have an NG tube put in to get nutrition.
No vaccine, no cuisine, okay? No fissure, no croque monsieur. If the French can restrict cafes, we gotta start doing that here. You don't get vaccinated, you can't get on an airplane. You can't go to the big game. You can't go to the late show. All these people.
Bleeding, profuse bleeding, has been seen in individuals who have gotten the Moderna vaccine, right? They have bleedings in the skin, jerking over the whole body, which also can be the consequence of thrombus formation in the brain, has been reported from America, people getting that vaccine. And this jerking, which is horrible, these people will probably never be normal again, you know?
Everybody needs to hear this, and this breaks my heart, and I'm going to try not to get angry. We have a kid in our community, 23 years old, college athlete, Ivy League school, Best Buddies program, just a pillar of the community. He is now dead because he was required to take a vaccine. He took the vaccine and immediately had a heart attack and died. There was no reason for this. This kid would go out of his way to always check up on my daughter, because I have a daughter with Down syndrome, would go out of his way to make sure she was always good. Just a great kid who is now gone because he was required to take a vaccine for a virus that would not affect him. Science says it would not affect him, so why would you force the kid to take a vaccine? You people, look, all my family is vaccinated, flu shots, all the vaccines required, all my dogs are vaccinated. That's not the problem. This is an experimental drug that has no long-term studies on humans, and the studies on animals is poor. But you're going to force people out of fear for a virus that will never affect them.
Lisa Shaw, family claims BBC presenter died. The BBC presenter died at the age of 44 from a blood clot after having the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine. Her family's Scion Award-winning BBC radio presenter died in hospital after suffering blood clots after she received the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Every time my doctor, every time my specialist come in this room, they pick up this vaccine card every time. I have it here. It sits right here. So if I ever forget while I'm here, why I'm in pain, why I'm doing this, I can look at that card. Every time they walk in, they grab that card, they look at it, and they shake their head. And they say, I am so sorry you took that vaccine. I am so sorry anybody takes these vaccines right now. We do not have enough time yet of research. What are we doing?
There's another reason to be optimistic about the vaccine logjam breaking soon. While speaking to lawmakers yesterday, Pfizer and Moderna say they've now streamlined the manufacturing process, so 140 million doses will be coming in the next 5 weeks.
I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine yesterday. Nobody knows if this is the reason that all this stuff is going on, but started with chest pain, paralysis on my left side. I was rushed over via ambulance to Baylor, Dallas, where I have had numerous scans done. I have had about 8 seizures in the last 2 days. Never had a seizure before. They did find a 3-millimeter brain aneurysm. I am currently hooked up to my EEG so they can monitor my seizures.
17 doctors, numerous tests. I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré, pericarditis, POTS syndrome, gastroparesis, meningitis, and many more complications, all as a result of the Moderna vaccines.
I'm in so much pain today. I've been crying nonstop. I didn't realize that this condition comes with random pain.
I'm sure a lot of you saw my daily posts and my blogs on Instagram. I was showing all of you what was happening to me. Most were kind, but I was attacked, belittled, ridiculed, threatened. The hospital brought security into my room to threaten me about posting. I didn't know what was happening to my body. I wanted answers just as much as you did. I was confused and in pain and hurting. The doctors at the hospital treated me with such disrespect and disregard and didn't call the neuro team until the 5th day on my 3rd stay. 1,500 pages of medical records, and the only doctor willing to admit that it was from the Moderna was the neurologist who finally came in and recognized me.
As the head nurse just walked in and said, "You're the one that just got diagnosed with Guillain-Barré, however you say it, from the Moderna shot, right?"
He demanded that she report my injury to the VAERS system and the CDC.
I've been experiencing tremors. I've been experiencing like full-on body shakes to the point where my boyfriend has had to pin me down in a bed to make sure that I don't hurt myself. Like, he shouldn't have to do that, and I shouldn't be having to do this just because I've had a vaccine to protect myself and protect other people. Because actually it's just it's an experiment. We're all part of an experiment. So if you haven't had the vaccine, I pray don't have the vaccine. That's all I'm asking, and I just want to create some awareness.
So this is what I do. I do dialysis on patients in the hospital. You can guess where I'm at. COVID positive hospital floor. Completely full. All fully vaccinated patients. Vaccine doesn't work. I'm not getting it. I hate my job today. Not wanting to do this again this year. Last year sucked. It was the worst year ever in healthcare. Pray for your healthcare workers again. We ain't trying to do this again. Love y'all.
Can you imagine being in a country like India right now where people all around you are dying because they don't have the vaccine? We're over here begging and bribing people to get it like we're trying to convince a 4-year-old to eat his broccoli nuggets. It really is ridiculous. But many of those who don't trust the vaccine are worried about fertility issues. This is the big thing. Fertility issues, thanks to some not too bright people who, for whatever reason, come up with these cockamamie misinformation campaigns.
My name's Dr. Sean Brooks, PhD, Oxford. I have 48 publications, including 23 books. I've studied health, medicine, anatomy, and physiology for approximately 21 years. Dr. Robert Malone, who created the messenger RNA vaccine, has said no one should ever take these jabs ever, under any circumstance whatsoever. He created it, and he says don't ever do it. So let me explain what's going to happen to the people who have taken it. Excuse me. The people who have taken it are going to die in the next 6 months to 3 to 5 years for 3 reasons. Number one, you have dramatically decreased your own immune system by 35%. The first jab did it by at least 15. The second did it by 35 now. If you take any booster shot, you will die. That's it. You take a flu shot in the future, you will die. The second reason, antibody-dependent enhancement. Antibody-dependent enhancement is what is happening with these jabs with everybody who has taken them. Unless, of course, you've taken a placebo. But there's no way that you would know that. So given that fact, antibody-dependent enhancement tricks the entire body into believing that the cell that's eating the pathogen is eating it when it isn't. It ends up leading to what's called a cytokine storm, which causes organ failure. That will cause your death, and there's no stopping that. No amount of drugs will stop that. The third thing, blood clotting. Everyone who has taken the jabs is blood clotting. If you don't believe me, there's a way you can find out. Take what's called a D-dimer test. What that does is that detects blood clotting at the microscopic level. They're cutting full blood clots out of people right now. As I'm talking to you, millions have died from the jabs. In your last meeting, you advocated for people to take the jabs potentially in the future, along with wearing masks. And I heard parents say the same thing. So to the parents who are actually considering jabbing their own children, you're going to sterilize them permanently. People who have taken the jabs are sterilized. 80% of women who have been jabbed have lost their children in the first trimester. You can't have kids.
I'm a retired pediatrician and also a grandparent. And when I was working, I always advised all the routine childhood immunisations, both for my patients and indeed my family. But I'm being asked a lot at the moment about the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines to teenagers. As doctors, we have to balance the risk of a disease against the risk of the vaccine. The risk of serious disease, let alone death from COVID-19, almost disappears for children. COVID vaccine risks perversely seem to be higher the younger you are. So for the very group who are least at risk from COVID itself. AstraZeneca, for example, has been withdrawn for those under 40 in many countries because of dangerous blood clots. The Pfizer vaccine has been linked to myocarditis, and it's occurring in as many as 1 in 6,000 young men aged 16 to 20. We've even seen deaths of several children following vaccination in the US and Canada. And there may be long-term side effects that we haven't yet discovered. There's new research from Pfizer in Japan suggesting that nanoparticles from the vaccine accumulate in the testes and the ovaries, and we have no idea whether that has any implications for future fertility. So for children, the balance of risk is very clear. The risk of the vaccine is greater than the risk of COVID itself. So what about protecting adults? Well, adults don't need children to protect them. The UK already shows that over 80% of adults have antibodies, either from vaccination or indeed from prior infection. And what about new variants? Well, they're going to rise anyway, regardless of how many people are vaccinated or not. In society, adults are responsible for protecting children, not the other way around. We cannot expect children to take a vaccine when we don't yet have long-term safety data. Children have their whole lives ahead of them. So if you're a parent, or indeed a teen, it's your decision. You can say you'd rather wait till all the safety data is in. But at the end of the day, you can just say no.
I'm a clinical lab scientist and have tested 1,500 supposed positive COVID-19 samples collected here in Southern California. When my lab team and I did the testing through Koch's postulates and observation under a scanning electron microscope, we found no COVID in any of the 1,500 samples. What we found was that all of the 1,500 samples were mostly influenza A and some were influenza B, but not a single case of COVID, and we did not use the BS-PCR test. It's polymerase chain reaction test. Celia Farber does wonderful journalism on the topic. I did videos on this channel for that. We then sent the remainder of the samples to Stanford, Cornell, and a few of the University of California labs, and they found the same results as we did. No COVID. They found influenza A and B. All of us then spoke to the CDC and asked for viable samples of COVID, which CDC said they could not provide as they did not have any samples. We have now come to the firm conclusion through all our research and lab work that the COVID-19 was imaginary and fictitious. The flu was called COVID, and most of the 225,000 dead were dead through comorbidities such as heart disease, cancer, diabetes, emphysema, etc. Then they got the flu, which further weakened their immune systems, and they died. I have yet to find a single viable sample of COVID-19 to work with. We at the 7 universities that did the lab tests on these 1,500 samples are now suing the CDC for COVID-19 fraud. The CDC has yet to send us a single viable, isolated, and purified sample of COVID-19. If they can't or won't send us a viable sample, I say there is no COVID-19. It is fictitious. The 4 research papers that do describe the genomic extracts of the COVID-19 virus never were successful in isolating and purifying the samples. All the 4 papers written on COVID-19 only describe small bits of RNA, which were only 37 to 40 base pairs long, which is not a virus. A viral genome is typically 30,000 to 40,000 base pairs. With as bad as COVID is supposed to be all over the place, how come no one in any lab worldwide has ever isolated and purified this virus in its entirety? That's because there never really they never really found the virus. All they've ever found was small pieces of RNA, which were never identified as the virus anyway. So what we're dealing with is just another flu strain. Like every year, COVID-19 does not exist and is fictitious.
Dr. Dan Stock, 5777 West 700 North McCordsville, Indiana. The reason we still have a problem is because we're doing things that are not useful, and we're getting our sources of information from the Indiana State Board of Health and the CDC, who actually don't bother to read science before they do this. I'm actually a functional family medicine physician. That means I am specially trained in immunology and inflammation regulation, and everything being recommended by the CDC and the State Board of Health is actually contrary to all the rules of science. 75% of people who had COVID-19 positive symptom cases in Barnstable, Massachusetts outbreak were fully vaccinated. Therefore, there is no reason for treating any person vaccinated any differently than any person unvaccinated. You should also know that no vaccine, even the ones I support and would give to myself and my children, ever stops infection.
Did you get your vaccine yet?
What?
Your vaccine.
I don't do that shit. Don't give me that shit about the vaccine.
Oh, yeah, with you.